Hi, I'm Tolulope Kolade, Tcode, an African voiceover artist from Nigeria, and this is my podcast, Everything Voiceovers, the African Perspective Podcast, where I take you on a journey to discovering industry insights through expert interviews, practical tips, and personal anecdotes.
You can simply call this your go-to resource for all things voiceover related. Buckle up as we discover the art, craft, and business of voiceovers through a uniquely African lens on this episode. Enjoy!
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Everything Voiceovers podcast, the African Perspective. It's another episode for us to talk to a voiceover artist from Nigeria. Another, in-person type of interview that I enjoy. I'm loving these days, like you watched the last one with David Atta, my very good friend. And this time around again, as you can see, I'm in the same studio with another very good friend of mine. And another thing that makes everybody the same studio, the same places, and all of that is the fact that we're here in the city of Abuja. Now, Abuja is the capital city, and I've got the capital people right here. Now, I'm looking at the very beautiful, and not just the fact that she's beautiful facially, but she's also beautiful when it comes to her voice. She's an award-winning voiceover artist, by the way. And she's really good at what she does. She's no other person than... I want to say your name, but I'm trying to remember the correction you just gave me. It's no longer Agatha. I have to change it to Agatha.
Okay.
Right? Agatha Ike. Right? I got it right?
Yeah, you did.
Ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Agatha Ike.
Thank you very much. You deserve extra kilishi for that. And welcome to the Bouge. That's what we call it.
The Bouge, right? The Bouge. I like that. I like it. All right.
Okay.
It's nice to see you, Agatha.
Same here.
Remember the last time I was here in Abuja? That was like last year.
Yes.
And we were going around the city. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we forgot to take a picture or a video.
No content, imagine.
But this time around, we're doing it like full content, right?
Full content,
It's
yes.
video podcast. So it's nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Yeah. And how's voiceover going?
It's going. It's going. We're thanking God and just doing it irrespective of how you feel some days. Some days you just feel like, Then you do something, create something that you really love and you're like, you know what, this is it. This is what I'm meant to do. So yeah.
First of all, I'll say shout out to you for winning. You came first runner-up at the APVA's Africa Podcast Day Challenge.
Yes.
And I think one of the things that gave you an edge in that competition was that you're a voiceover artist. Now, for context, people don't know, but APVA, that's the African Association of Podcasters and Voice Actors, held a competition on Africa Podcast Day where they said that podcasters or anybody could just send in a 1-minute podcast. And Agatha pulled something really stunning, and then she came first runner-up. So shout out to you for that.
Thank you.
Big ups to your voice.
Honestly speaking, it's a project that I kept a long time ago, and I was so scared to do it. But when I listened to it and I saw all the feedback, I was just like, okay, Agatha, this is right. This is what you're supposed to do. So I'm still developing it, by the way, and very soon you'll hear it. Letters to Moms podcast. So you heard it first from here. So.
From a podcast.
Yeah.
You're hearing about another podcast.
Absolutely.
That I anticipate that one. So let's talk about Agatha being a voiceover artist. Of course, that's why we're here. I know a lot of people have been admiring your voice from afar off. Because the voiceover industry in Nigeria is growing now. People are beginning to identify the faces behind many things. But not many people, I'm not sure so many people know so much about you. You know how to show, and you do it very quintessentially. I hope I got that English correct.
Yeah, it's correct. Absolutely.
You do it, just come in elegantly. You do your thing. You don't overdo. You just walk out again. We don't see you for a while, and you just come in and,
oh, wow.
So there's a mystery behind who Agatha Ike is.
Agatha.
So tell me about how you discovered voiceover and all that.
So I'm going to start from when I was 12. Yeah. So a big shout out to my Uncle Shegun. So we had a landline. Is it 12? I think 11 or 12. So we had a landline in our house, and he called one day, and he's my sister's friend. And then he said, I want to talk to, it's like, hello. And then I said, hello, Auntie Gina is not around. Could you call back later? And he said, when he spoke to her much later, I said, was that your sister or was that a voice prompt? And she's like, that's my sister. And after that, I fell in love with, I used to sing, and then now it's in the it's back. I don't sing. I only sing.
Well, fun fact: a lot of voiceover artists sing.
Yeah, but
David sings.
I don't
Sarah
know.
sings.
I wouldn't.
Come on.
I only sing in my bathroom. That's it. So, but ever since then, I've always used my voice, whether it's debates. I really never knew voiceover was a thing until when I started interning. So I was mostly pushed to radio. That's where we all start. Most voiceover artists start from. So I started off with radio, and then when I started off, I was voicing a few station liners, and then I was just like, people make money from this thing, right? So, and that's how it started. I took a break for a bit, and when I came back, my voice texture changed. I like to say that my voice had more of a panache, a better texture to it than before. So, I could sound like really hit those low basses, and then I could still sound girly, because then you could tell by my voice my age then. But now when I speak, I can sound like a motherly mother, an elderly woman. I could sound like a child. Like, so that's, I think, over the years I've been able to express my voice and not just stick to just maybe commercial, just voiceover commercial. I've been able to look at animation, look at radio jingles, look at audiobooks, look at narration. So it's given me a plethora of different voice textures, so to say. But my point is, starting off, I wasn't sure what I wanted, but immediately I started doing it, there's that rush you feel. When you hear it, you're just like, oh my God, is that my voice? I actually find it hard to believe that that's my voice for a while, because I'm like, oh wow, is that my voice? And then learning audio editing as well.
Okay, so I think that was a very all-encompassing answer, talking about how you discovered your voice at the age of 12, and radio got you to see the beauty in your voice, especially. And I think the thing about radio is that you get to work. You're just plunged into a space where a lot of things are in place already. You've got a radio producer, you've got studio manager, you've got great mics and stuff like that. So the chances that you deliver something with high quality is kind of like high compared to people who are just starting, and they'll start on their phone and then they go to a music studio that they don't have that processing designed for voiceover like that. But shout out to radio people. We're going to come to radio in a bit. I want to also know how you're venturing into radio, sort of like, because I know that in the mix of radio is where you discovered voiceover. How did you break out from just wearing the tag, I'm a radio presenter, to confidently saying I'm a voiceover artist? A lot of people want to claim voiceover artistry, but they're not really grounded for that. So what was that evolution for?
Okay, so for me, when I said I took a break, I knew that I needed training. In as much as, yes, I used to listen to adverts and try to mimic the advert, and even till now I still do it. But I knew I needed training, because I felt like, okay, why there's so many certifications for different things, so why can't there be a certification for voiceover artistry? And then that's when I came across the Voiceover Academy. So for me, the reason I was able to break out from the title of just being a radio presenter and saying, with my full chest, that I'm a voiceover artist, is the fact that I was particular about training. I started having mentors. I started following. I was intentional about following people that I felt could, post content that can help me grow. So it's not just saying you working on yourself, because, okay, you could do a training and that's just it. You don't have mentorship. You don't have people that follow up with you. You yourself don't even have any content that pops on your timeline that reminds you that, hey, remember you took that training. You're supposed to be intentional about this. So that's one thing that I think I was very intentional. Even till today, I'm still, sending people DMs and just saying, hi, my name is Agatha. I'm a voiceover artist. I came across your page. I love your work. I'd like to get to know you. I have so many. I mean, even you.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how we met, and it's sounding like it's
the
probably
DM.
like that.
It is the DM. I just sent him a DM because I heard his work, and I was like, oh my God, this person is really talented. So that's the thing. If you are doing anything, whether it's even voiceover artistry, since we're focused on voiceover artistry, if you're not intentional about the network of people that you have, you won't grow. In this industry, you are not, even if you are great at it, you have millions and millions of awards, and yet you are feeling like you have arrived. Now, in this industry, you never arrive, in the sense that it's a learning process, and you have to stay humble. And that's one thing I've done. I don't think
I gotta say, you are humble.
No, the level I am, I'm still learning. There's so many people to look up to. So hey, yeah.
I mean, it's really nice to hear about your story. But by the way, what year was this when you went to the Voiceover Academy?
That was 20. Yeah, okay.
Maybe 2020, 2021 or 20.
Yeah, 2021, I think. Yeah.
Okay. And you went in person to Lagos?
No.
Oh, there was the D2.
There was it was in Abuja.
Oh yeah, I remember.
So the first one was in Lagos, but I couldn't go. So I kept on sending them DMs like, bring this thing to Abuja now. Bring this thing to Abuja now.
Yeah.
And when the first one that happened, I'm like,
great.
Yeah, I'm doing this, because I thought about it. I was like, it doesn't make any sense. I needed that certification so that I know that, okay, I am in the right space, because mentorship is really expedient when it comes to voiceover artistry. You need a community of people that can groom you and help you, because here's the thing, you're not going to feel excited every day. Like I said, you won't feel excited every day. Sometimes you'll be like, am I sure this thing is for me? Especially when you see some people doing so well and it seems like it's easy. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
The difference is they're putting in more work and they're being intentional about their craft. So sometimes when I am very I am shy that you notice that's what I do. So sometimes I'm in your face on Instagram and then sometimes I'm just like ghost mode, and then I come back again. So
I really like that. And when I start seeing all of those flashes, like you're explaining, once in a while, thoughts of other voiceover artists elsewhere just comes to my mind, and I'm like, what is this person feeling like right now? It's been a while I saw any content from that person, and sometimes I have to reach out to them and just encourage them. There are times they're doing well. There are times that they're just really down.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, more than not, I get a lot of thank you. I needed this word. Like, thank you so much. Because sometimes, and there are many times I discover something new and I feel like, okay, yes, I've discovered this is going to work for me. But what's the good if only me applies it and it works for me, right? So I kind of like try to share the knowledge with other people, hoping that, I'm not saying it's not going to work for me, but even if the chances, even if it doesn't work as expedient as I want it to, chances are that for many, if I share it with 10 persons, at least 5 persons supposed to use work now.
Exactly.
Right? So I try to do that as much as possible. But the point here is have a community, have a network of people that you associate with, and it helps your voiceover career. It also strengthens you when you're down.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about community. Let's talk about, because our last hangout here in Abuja, we're talking a lot about the voiceover industry, and we're also talking about it in relation to the radio business. I know that's a conversation, but let's just talk about that because we don't have much time. So I just want to ask one or two things from you.
Okay.
How do you think the radio industry has affected the voiceover industry in Nigeria?
Okay, so like we already established, most voiceover artists, some of them discover their talents from talking on radio, and because with radio you talk every day, so you're literally exercising or practicing every single time.
Yeah.
So it's only natural that you could be a voiceover artist. However, not all radio presenters are voiceover artists. We need to point that. And also with voiceover artistry, you have to find your niche. Some people are just focused on maybe just commercial kind of voiceover, and some it's audio, narration. So I think how radio has helped voiceover artists discover themselves, help them practice more, because there's always that studio to just go and just say something, practice, and there's always thousands and thousands of scripts. Because for me, that's what I used to do. Whenever they voice something, I just go to the production studio and I see maybe 4 or 5 scripts. I'm like, okay, let me just voice it. So that's how I used to, practice. But now there's thousands of scripts online, so you don't really necessarily need that. So how has it affected voiceover artistry? It has that's a positive part of it. It has affected voiceover artistry in a way that up and coming voiceover artists can practice in the production studio. However, the downside, which is what we've talked about before, is the fact that voiceover artists, especially with the way Nigerian radio structure is, don't necessarily get paid. In the sense that if you're a presenter, they assume that voiceover is part of your job description. So you don't get paid. But, when you look at a rate card for any radio station, there's always something for voiceover artists. But they now turn that into a marketing tool such that, come and advertise with our radio station and then we'll give you free voiceovers. So that's the downside of it. Unfortunately, people just assume, is it not just talk? But it's not just talk. If you're a voiceover artist and you're watching this, that it's not just talk. But hey, it's what it is. So in that area, that's where, that mindset has to change. You can't expect someone to, give their voice for free. That then you start talking about licensing and copyrights and rights to your voice, all of that most voiceover artists don't even know about. It's just especially radio folks. Till today, my voice is still being played somewhere.
I tell you.
I don't need to say.
I tell you. I mean, we know. I'm also like that. I traveled to some cities that I had once worked in, and an hour drive listening to the radio local stations, I just hear my voice and I'm like, how many years ago? But these are things that, and the sad part is that these practices still exist till today. There are no structures, there are no regulations, rules that sort of like guide these things. And this is where I think, let me ask you about the possible solution before I share my thoughts on this anyways. What do you think we can do to remedy the situation of the radio industry having negative impacts on the voiceover industry with the lack of structure?
Okay, so here's the thing. A big shout out to AVOA. First of all, a massive shout out to them because they've adjusted the rate card. So big ups. So I'm glad about that. But it also, they also have to play a role with this. If you're a registered member of AVOA, you ought to know this. Like you need to have like an ID card, and you also need to learn how to say no. Now here's the thing, it's tricky. Let me explain it, because if you're an up and coming voiceover artist and you have never done anything on radio is a very great platform to showcase what you can do. Because we're looking at building your portfolio. So, and we know that most brands big brands. So imagine you voice something for a big brand, I don't want to mention a brand's name, and it's being aired in, at least in the state you're in, maybe like 4 or 6 radio stations. That's a good one for you. However, here's where the problem lies. In that kind of situation, you will not be paid. It's unfortunate, but you ought to be paid. But here's the thing, because you don't have, they're giving you a platform. That's usually the word. They're giving you a platform. So that, first of all, the first rule is enough with the platform. If the person is not talented, don't hire them. Do not use someone. We need to kill the using culture. Unfortunately, people just assume that, this person has a great voice. Or they're not aware of how it's supposed to be. So let me exploit them until they see the light. So even if it's just for 2 months, I've exploited you. I should have got something. Move on to the next person that I feel that has, potential. So we need to get to that point where, as voiceover artists, you learn to say no, and you don't have to say no in a disrespectful way. You say no, explaining your rights. So if you do not know your rights, you cannot say no with. If you say no, you always seem rude. But if you say no with valid points, explaining to your boss or your potential client or employer why you can't do this at this rate. But if you just say, I'm giving you a platform, Joe, do it. You explain, thank you so much. But here's the thing, my voice comes at a cost. Now, I understand that I am still new in the business. However, which is why I would be willing to collect a certain amount. However, I cannot give you my voice and rights to my voice without any form of compensation. Thank you for your time, sir or ma. That is just a simple and polite way to say no without being rude. Because once you're being rude, in this business, you do not want to burn bridges.
Sure.
irrespective of if the person is misbehaving.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. First of all, radio stations have to stop with the whole "we're giving you a platform" nonsense. That has to go. And then, in my own time, this is how we did it. This is a
We've had enough of that
a new
those
era
stories.
that has to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
And then for AVOA, perhaps putting it's not just even AVOA and ABCON
Yeah.
working hand in hand for adverts. There was a time when ABCON insisted that there was a rule about voiceovers only being done by Nigerians.
Yeah.
So that was a good one. Loved it. Although some people had mixed feelings about that, but
Yeah.
that's their own. Point is, if ABCON can do something like that, then they have to now insist and put it in writing that for an up and coming voiceover artist, this is a particular fee
Yeah.
for this. Not that the person would do it for free, because there's too many unspoken things, and because there's too many unspoken things, that's why there's enough room
Yeah.
for nonsense to happen, or for
Yeah.
this kind of, I don't care attitude,
Yeah.
or exploitation. Well, that's the word, exploitation, to happen. So I think if ABCON and AVOA can come together and protect up and coming voiceover artists, because here's the thing, because it's growing, the industry is growing, and I'm sitting back, I'm just thinking about my little self. If I came into an industry and I'm seeing all of this, big names, and then I come into the industry and I feel like, it's a rite of passage, I have to be used, I have to be exploited, because unfortunately that is how radio works. It's, you have to pay your dues.
Yeah.
And
God knows how long.
be exploited, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
It can go on for 2 years. I mean, I worked somewhere that I wasn't paid for 2 years. So
Yeah.
here's the thing: it happens.
Yeah.
So I think those are the little things. AVOA and ABCON work together, come up with something that would
Yeah, it's a beautiful conversation we're having, because
Absolutely.
I can also relate as a radio.
Yeah, that's true.
I used to work on
That's
radio.
true.
A lot of us have a radio background.
Yeah.
And it's quite unfortunate what we had to go through. Good thing is we've learned a lot from those
Absolutely.
experiences, but we know better to clamor for better treatment for people that are coming into this business. And I'll just cap what you said. I mean, I'll sort of like add to it that as the Archon and AVOA needs to come together, we also need to see MBC as a potent stakeholder in this.
True.
Yeah, I don't know how the politics, if there is any, will go, but in my honest opinion, because radio presenters form a bulk of the people that do voiceovers in this country, there's a need to add them to the equation when policies have been formed,
True.
that affect the voiceover industry. So we can consider, them. And the closer they are to the voiceover industry, the more they're informed about their rights and what to do and what not to do. And then it's a win-win for everybody. But I don't want us to drag this conversation more than now, because, I got to let Agatha go. She's been very, very grateful. Kind enough to share her time with me, but I love this conversation. I think I'm going to title this episode something like The Radio Nemesis or something.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
in Nigeria, radio,
Yeah.
as a voiceover artist. But here's the thing, I still would not trade the experience, because it has shaped me.
Sure.
I have learned to stand on my ground when I feel like this doesn't benefit me. I've learned how to say no, because I have come from a place of being used at some point or being exploited. So
So it's been a great conversation with Agatha Ike.
good.
I got it right. And we're going to have this conversation some other time, maybe like a part 2. But I want to say
When it
very
comes
big.
to Abuja.
Yeah, when it comes to Abuja again. I just want to say a very big thank you for your time, and it's been a pleasure talking to you. For those who might want to link up with you, can you just...
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Agatha Ike _SNC. That is Speaking Nightingale. That's what SNC stands for.
Speaking Nightingale. All right, thank you so much. That's it for today's episode, guys. Watch out for the next episode, and it's going to be on YouTube. Of course, you're probably watching from YouTube or on Spotify or Apple. But do well to like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share this podcast with someone else. I remain Tcode. Till next episode, keep doing voiceovers the right way, keep learning, and don't stop. All right? Bye.
Bye.